Hi, I'm John. This is my show, A Sports Reckoning. And this is Dirty Old Dustin during the day. And this is Dirty Old Dustin during the night. Right, so... I gotta make myself laugh and shit, right? There is actually a purpose why I brought that girl up, that picture. There's another reason for that, right? I'm going to talk about that in a second, right? I can't help myself. Sometimes I just got to make a joke and shit, right? So, let me show you. This is like the most perfect example of what I can give you of why Dustin's a fraud. Dustin's a fraud. There's no doubt about it. He's fake. He's not real. He's lying to you because he lies to himself, because he's too stupid to understand fucking what really reality is and shit, right? And he can go jerk off and be the fucking jerk off loser he is all he wants and shit. I don't care. But we're in this modern world. In the old world, nobody ever would have heard of Dustin. He had no talent where anybody ever would have fucking heard of him. If you're not directly involved in his inner circle in his real life, then we would never have to bother with this fucking loser and shit, right? Nobody would ever know about him. But in this modern world, they allow these losers to come on here and lie to people and influence them and give them bad advice, and then the public is so fucking stupid, it's got their fucking thumbs up their asses and shit, right? They don't know any better and shit, right? And what it is like the weight of reality is too much pressure. It's a daunting fucking life experience of what you gotta live through to actually think about shit. It's fucking difficult to actually have to think and then have to carry the burdens of the realities of fucking what you see and shit, right? And so Dustin lives in the world where he doesn't want you to think about reality. That's this world of these people and shit. They're really stupid loser people who don't deal in reality. It's a fake fucking reality world, right? They're all fake as fuck, right? Because they got no fucking talent and shit, right? And all the stupid losers out there in the world who have no talent, who are just like Dustin and shit, then they like to listen to Dustin because it's mindless fucking nonsense and shit. You're all fucking fake and shit, right? You fucking losers and shit, right? It's a damn shame what the world's got to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. We're living in a new world with an old soul. 'Cause rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do. They think you don't know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, been taxed to no end by the rich men north of Richmond. Motherfuckers. Okay, so this is like this part right here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Why Dustin is a fraud, right? Listen to what he says. His words, his own fucking words.
I just like certain topics in the hobby, stuff that doesn't make sense to me. I like throwing it out there into the universe, and of course everyone chimes in, and that's how the world turns.
Oh, really? That's how the world turns and shit, right? So there's certain topics in the hobby that doesn't make sense, and you like to throw it out in the universe and shit, right? Okay, well, what the fuck am I? I don't exist, right? I'm exactly what you're talking about. And you will not fucking mention anything about what I say and give an opportunity to the public to make their own fucking decision. Maybe they're interested in it. Maybe it can affect their lives. Maybe they would like to invest in this and shit, right? And you do nothing. Because you are a fucking fraud. Right? So, if you don't know what I'm talking about my Michael Jackson being the love child of Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson story. It's been fucking reported upon. It's been in magazines. They fucking reported directly as Smokey Robinson. No way did he deny it. He couldn't deny it. So let me show you a couple things. I forgot to turn this light on because I'm going to show you something. Okay. Okay, so, now, okay, so this is a PSA slab, right? And what card's in there? Oh, it's a Michael Jackson card. Which means that Michael Jackson is in the card community. That's all there is to it. Michael Jackson is a part of the card community. You can't deny it. That's all there is to it. Doesn't matter if you're interested or not. Your job is to be a reporter, reported upon news stories in the fucking car community and shit, right? Now, I want to give a couple things about now. I picked this up because, see, it's only a PSA 2. Okay, it's only a 2. But this card is a special card. Okay? It's a... Let's see if we can get this here. Okay, 1984 Panini. Michael Jackson Smash Hits Collection. Okay? Okay, it's totally freaking legit card. It's a cool fucking card. But because it's also 1984, which is it's basically 1984 is what you call Thriller era, even though it's like 83 and maybe even late 82 the song might have been released. I'd have to check it on the actual date and shit, right? It's actually more like 83, but 84 is kind of like, that's what I always associate with the Thriller era. It would be primarily 1984. And so, the thing is that Michael Jackson's song, Billie Jean, I say it's always been misunderstood. It's been misunderstood that the actual Billie Jean song is actually about Diana Ross telling Michael that he was her child, that Michael's actually the kid in the song. People have just misinterpreted the lyrics, and they don't understand the intelligence of these sophisticated artists, how fucking talented they are, and what the messages they're able to convey into their fucking stories, and these underlying hidden stories that they can fucking actually put in there and deceive the public to make them think something else, because Michael will just refer to Billie Jean as being a Billie Jean groupie. And there are these groupies. There's a real issue about these groupies. That is something. But the actual Billie Jean groupie of what he's talking about is Diana Ross, who was 14 years old, the original Billie Jean groupie. That she was 14 years old and she was going after Smokey Robinson when he was 18, because it happened exactly at the time, right after Smokey Robinson met Berry Gordy, and he started to record songs. He was going to make a record, and his song came on the radio. And Diana saw that happening. At that same time, Diana's actually in love with Smokey Robinson, and she's able to sleep in Smokey Robinson's house because she only lives like 3 or 4 doors down from Smokey Robinson. And Diana Ross is best friends with Smokey Robinson's niece named Sharon Burstyn. So since Diana's friend and Sharon Burstyn, Smokey's niece, she lives with Smokey Robinson. They live in the same house, because Smokey Robinson is being taken care of by his older sister, who is 17 years older than him, and she has all these children. So one of her children is Diana's friend. Now, Smokey Robinson's mom passed away when he was 10 years old, and so Smokey Robinson's older sister moved back into that house, which is on Belmont in Detroit. And so she's taking care of Smokey. So Smokey's actually living in a house where there is no parents. There's no parents in that house. That's the environment. And Smokey is Mr. Cool. Everybody loves Smokey. He plays music, he's into sports, he's just fucking good guy and shit. Everybody loves Smokey, and so does Diana Ross. Diana Ross is in love with Smokey Robinson, and she's able to sleep in his house. But Smokey Robinson has a girlfriend named Claudette, who's also in his band. Right? So Diana can't be Smokey's girlfriend. Diana can't get into the band. She's like shut out. And that's the dude that she's in love with. She's a 14-year-old girl. She's infatuated with Smokey. And so what can she do? Well, one night when Claudette, because she's only like 15, she has to go home. And, she can't stay the night. She's not sleeping the night at Smokey's house. She's got to go home. But Diane is sleeping at the house. Diana Ross is sleeping at the house because she's best friends with Sharon Burstyn. So one of those nights, what I say, I know it happened, Diana let Smokey fuck her. They had sex, and she got pregnant. It's just simple as can be. It's like the oldest story in the book. She got pregnant. But Diana's not aware of the implications and the ramifications of Berry Gordy trying to build Motown Records around his new young 18-year-old star, Smokey Robinson. And see, that's the thing is, that's when they built Motown. There was no Motown before that. They're building it together. That's how Motown got built, was from the meeting of Smokey Robinson and Berry Gordy. That's how Motown got built. So then Berry Gordy, he's starting to build his company. Now he can see, okay, I've got the Smokey. I'm going to build he literally built a record company because of the meeting of Smokey Robinson. That's actually how it happened. So as Berry Gordy now is building this record company, the next thing you know, the Diana's saying, I'm pregnant. And Smokey had to tell Berry, hey, I got freaking Diana pregnant. And now Berry's like, hey, we're trying to build a record company. I can't have a scandal of my artist, who's 18, having a child from a 14-year-old girl in the neighborhood. That was a problem. That's what they call motive. Motive, which is everything. Whenever they talk about crimes or why things happen, they say, well, what's the motive? That's your motive. That's the reason why they had to get rid of that kid. And they convinced her to get rid of the kid. And that's why Diana Ross, after that, she's like on a direct path to Motown, because now she's got leverage over Berry Gordy. She gave her kid away. There's the actual thing when Berry Gordy, this is like in Berry Gordy's book, when Berry Gordy says, when he first heard the Supremes, which would have been the Primettes at that time, he says when he first heard them doing their audition at Motown, they weren't auditioning for him. He said he just heard them singing in the Motown office. And he says what he first heard, this is what he says in his book. He said he hears Diana Ross singing, I want my baby, there goes my baby. That's what she's singing. I want my baby, there goes my baby. That's the song that she's singing. That's the song that she went into Motown and started singing. I want my baby, there goes my baby. Don't forget what I did for you, you motherfuckers. I want my record deal now. I want to be the fucking lead singer of the Supremes. I want to be a star. That's what fucking happened. It happened. And then that's why there's Diana Ross. When the Jackson 5 get back to Motown, the first album, Diana Ross presents the Jackson 5 because now she's going to be rekindling this relationship with her abandoned child. So instantly, the cover story starts instantly. They're covering it up. Why is Diana Ross and Michael having this relationship? Because when he's part of the Jackson family, nobody can understand what was actually happening, but this is what happened. And there is no fucking doubt about it, and there's no doubt I can prove it. But that's when Diana tells Michael the truth. At the time when Michael first signs to Motown, and then they move to Los Angeles, and then they're actually staying in Diana Ross's house. This is like the actual story. And then at that time, Diana Ross is filming a movie called Lady Sings the Blues. And her character, the name of she's playing Billie Holiday, and it's actually spelled Billie. It's actually spelled the same way as Billie Jean. So Diana Ross is Billie Jean, and she's also the original Billie Jean groupie that was going out. See, it's really integral. You got to understand like what it is. It's not just simplistic information. That's why these morons like fucking Dustin can't fucking deal with my story, because it's actually too factual. You actually have to use your brain. You have to be able to fucking think and understand what the fuck is this idiot fucking John talking about and shit, right? But these dumb motherfuckers' brains don't actually work, so they can't do it, right? So Billie Jean is like, it's big. The song Billie Jean, the fact of what the song is all about, when you actually hear me explain what Billie Jean is about, then you understand that a card like this from 1984, this is the Billie Jean video, a photo from the Billie Jean video. So anything that represents Billie Jean that's an actual card from that era, these are the cards. These are undervalued cards. They're underappreciated, right? So I have two of these copies in a raw copy, right? Two raw ungraded copies. I have two of them. And they all look about the same. The centering, if you just kind of look at the centering in the corners, they all look pretty good and shit, right? So like that one, I don't know how it gets a 2. It should be at least a 4, but the grade doesn't matter to me at all. But the thing was, I got that card for $25. So with shipping and stuff, you're talking like $30, right? This is the kind of opportunities, things that are out there. Now, to get this card and have it slabbed, right? I didn't care that it was a 2 because the corners, like if you look at the centering on it, the centering's good. The corners look sharp and shit. It looks good to me. I don't care that it's a PSA 2 because the card looks really good. But the significance of what that card is a big deal, right? And this is the thing that's like, Dustin, you're withholding information from the community. Now look at, just the fact that this card is in my possession, doesn't that make me a part of the fucking card community? Doesn't it make this Michael Jackson card part of the card community? How does it not? But these people keep acting like fucking my story and my cards and all this stuff. They act like it's not important and shit. Like it's not part of the card community. What? Oh, everybody else is. Every other story, you all could fucking talk about the same story over and over and over again. But the one story that's actually original of like what Dustin just said here, that's what he really likes to do and shit. Put it out into their bullshit. Because there's one story that's right in your face yelling at you fucking almost daily, you dumb motherfucker. Saying, why don't you talk about this? Oh, but because you're a dumb fucking hooker bitch and shit and I don't pay you? I gotta pay you to get you to talk about my story, you dumb fucking hooker bitch? That's what you are to me. You're just some fucking dumb hooker bitch. Some fucking NASCAR fucking loser with all your fucking advertisements. Post your fucking logo here. Pay me. I'm a dumb hooker bitch. You can stick your logo on me wherever. You want me to put it on my tits and fucking rub my nipples for you and shit? Now you dumb hooker bitch and shit. Right? So, then the other part about this, so, then I just want to show you other things. So, like, this is also this, I just picked this card up. Actually, I bought this, there's a person who sells these packs. These open packs, and they sell them one at a time, but they constantly have them. When they sell one, then they have another one, right? So this is the Michael Jackson from the History Tour, 8 trading cards. You know, it's from Panini. There's a really fucking cool set, right? So that's, the person sends you the package, but it's an open package. But inside the pack, there's 7 cards, and then there's always one of the sparkle cards. Okay, so there's always one of the sparkle cards in there like this. Okay, so in that set, there's 20 of these sparkle cards, right? And whenever there's only a couple that I really don't, that are not super attractive, but other than that, I almost like I like every one of the sparkle cards that they have and shit, right? So whenever that person has a pack like that, and because they sell them, they sell the open pack, the person I get that from, they sell them for usually like $6, you know? So with shipping and everything, it's definitely under $10, right? So whenever I see one of those that has one of those that I like, you know, I always pick it up and shit, right? So that's just one of those things that's available too. So like I said, that card right there, you know, I got that pack, the whole pack, but one of those cards, I got that for less than $10, you know? $10 and shit, right? These are the kind of things that are available that you can pick up. Because that card, any of those sparkle cards with Michael Jackson, those cards are just freaking awesome and shit, right? They're just awesome cards. Okay, so now, the other thing I want to talk about, this is the reason why I pulled up the little black dress. Okay, so this is the thing I have, and the reason why I pulled the slab too. Okay, so this slab, this card is a bigger card. So what you can see also, like, see how it's got that extra space on the side there? That's how, because sometimes when you look at a slab like this, right, when you see it, if you're not an expert, like kind of thing, if you're not familiar with this stuff, you might think it's a regular slab when you see it posted like on eBay and shit, right? You might just think it's a regular slab. But you can just look at the top and see it doesn't go all the way to the end like that, right? So then that's one of the signs you know that this is a larger slab, right? Because the card is just a little bit bigger. Let me see, like if I put, see, just to show you how barely bigger it is, right? See how that card kind of covers up the whole other card. It's barely bigger. It's barely bigger. It's just a little bit bigger, which I think that card should be able to fit into a normal slab, right? But they put it in this bigger slab, which totally devalues. It makes it worth half. It would be worth twice as much if it was just in a smaller slab, right? So this is one of the things with PSA and all the card companies, right? Is that slabs need to fit on the cards like a little black dress, like a sexy little black dress, right? That's what the card slabs are supposed to do. And anytime they release a fucking slab like this, they're doing a fucking injustice and disservice to the fucking community and shit, right? You can't have all that extra fucking space. How is that a perfect tight fit? How is it sexy, like a sexy little black dress and shit, right? Making my card look beautiful, because that's what the fucking slab is supposed to do. This doesn't do that. This takes away. Get rid of all that fucking space and shit, right? Fix this shit. This is the kind of issues too, which I bring up these issues into the community, but nobody fucking ever cares about any of my fucking opinions and my issues and my fucking ways of telling how to resolve this fucking problem. That's wrong. That card should not fucking come out in a slab that big. I think it should fit. It should fit in a normal slab. I don't know why they put them in these big slabs. And how stupid are they to not understand that the whole purpose of slabbing up a card is so the card looks like it's in a sexy little fucking black dress, man. Makes it sexy. It makes it better eye appeal. Makes us attracted to it, right? But this doesn't do it. This slab does not do that. It takes away from that shit, right? So this is the kind of thing about the slabs that pisses me off, and it makes me not want to buy a card like that, but it's still at that price and shit, I can't resist and shit, right? But that's just simply a slab issue. If that card, like I said, if that card was in a proper slab, it would instantly, just in a better slab, if it fit better, it would instantly be worth twice as much and shit, right? There's no doubt about it. So, now, Michael Jackson, how is my Michael Jackson story not something that should be talked about into the community, right? How is the cards, the Michael Jackson cards that I show you, how are they not relevant to the fucking card community and shit, right? And how is that not an opportunity for people to invest in the right fucking cards and stuff, right? And the undervalued cards, because like I said, the Billie Jean is massive. And anything connected to it is drastically undervalued. When my story breaks and when the people have the true understanding of what Billie Jean actually represents and who Michael Jackson is. See, my story proves that Michael Jackson's not a pedophile. That's the thing, is that Michael Jackson was told by Diana Ross when he's like 10, 11 years old that Michael thought he was a Jackson. He thought he was part of the Jackson family. He didn't know any better. He thought those were his parents. He thought those were his brothers, right? So all that time when he's working hard and shit, because people, they say all this stuff, because he has a song called Childhood, and people have misinterpreted that too. They misinterpret everything. The Childhood song is about Michael Jackson talking about the childhood. He says like a childhood of which I've never known and shit, right? Because that's what happened, is that he never knew the real childhood of which he should have had, which should have existed with his real parents. That's the issue he's got. And then when he finds out that he wasn't a Jackson, now he's not looking at it like, oh, I was doing something with my family and we're working hard and stuff. Now he's looking at it like, damn, Joe, you were just using me. I wasn't part of this family. You weren't doing this because you saw talent. And he says you had a connection to Berry Gordy, and you were just using me for your own purposes. That's what damaged Michael. That's what caused all the problems. And that's what causes the separation from Michael from being like his brothers and living the rock star life and going through the process of what his brothers would have went through. Michael didn't want to do that because now you're going to remember, Michael is the abandoned child of the original Billie Jean groupie, Diana Ross, the 14-year-old Diana Ross. Michael was the abandoned child of a Billie Jean groupie. That's what I'm telling you. The Billie Jean is a big fucking deal, right? So then, since Michael's the abandoned child of a Billie Jean groupie, he knows now, I don't want to get any of these girls pregnant, these girls that are trying to have sex with me and shit, right? He understands that if you get one of them, then that can cause a baby out of wedlock, and who's going to care about that baby and all the damage? And so Michael's like, I'm not going to be having sex with all these groupies. So what happens is, so then all that year, and then see, that's the thing, he's not pressured by his brothers. He's not worried, because everybody knows that if you have brothers, like if you're in a family and you've got brothers and you're a star, it's not possible that Michael Jackson could have went through that celebrity lifestyle where they're on the road and in hotels and shit, right? And having all the admiration of all the fans and having the older brothers, because you know how older brothers are, they think it's funny as fuck. Well, let's get Michael laid tonight. You're going to get laid. You're gonna get fucked. They're gonna make sure they put some fucking naked bitch right on your fucking cock. They'll do it while you're sleeping. You're gonna get fucked. There's no way around it. But Michael, since he was not part of the brothers now, he has a different relationship with them. He's building this other relationship where they don't have that leverage over him, and he's able to avoid all of that. Which happens is that Michael Jackson remains a virgin all through his teenage years. Which it's not possible that could have ever happened if he was part of the Jackson family. Like I said, they would have fucking put a bitch on him while he was fucking sleeping. It's not possible. They would have had him, he would have been raped. They would have had girls, basically, because we don't call that rape and stuff, we don't look at it, but that's what would have happened. He would have been fucking raped and shit. There's no possible way he could have stayed a virgin and shit the way, never, right? So, but he did, and this is how the personality trait builds with Michael, because he was so damaged when Diana told him the truth. Like I said, when he's like 10, 11 years old, Diana's like waiting for him. She's wanting to rekindle the relationship with her child. She told him. But then that took him away from the Jackson family. But then she's like, that's what it says in the song. She says, I'm the one, but the kid is not my son. Diana says, Michael, you're the one. You're the love child of me and Smokey. But then she says, the kid's not my son. But then she says, but you are a Jackson now. You got to stay living with a Jackson. What do you think that would do to Michael? While he's becoming a big star and now he's got to lie to the public, and he's got to live with upholding the image of the Jacksons. The Jacksons, an American dream story. He's got to keep that image alive. Look at all the pressure of what this fucking kid has to deal with and shit, right? He's having to have this relationship with Diana Ross, wanting to be his mother, and think about that weird think about the reality of, like, you're a little kid like Michael Jackson, and you know who Diana Ross is. She's the singer of the Supremes, the beautiful fucking Diana Ross. Next thing you know, that woman is telling you that she's your mother. That's some trippy ass fucking shit. And Michael, he tries to do all the right things all through his teenage years, right? In the 70s, he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to be part of the Jackson. He's trying to good with Diana. He's trying to be nice to the public and all the fans and shit, right? What kind of damage would that do to you? Then Michael has his chance. He's like, you know what? I'm going to write my own songs now. He's got the talent. He's learned what he's doing. He starts writing his own songs, which is Billie Jean. Comes right out the gate. Bam, with Billie Jean. He writes that fucking song, right? So I'm telling you, Billie Jean is a big fucking deal. So anything cards related from the era, like 1984, like this card from 1984, Panini Smash Hits with Billie Jean, that's a big fucking card. That card right there could be like the 52 Mantle. That's a contender for one of the cards that could be like one of the big ones. That one could be one of them. That's a potential of being one of the big, this one. Because there's difference between the Michael Jackson rookie cards and stuff, right? And this one, the Billie Jean, I think that's the best Billie Jean card. The only problem is it's put in that fucking slab that's a little bit too big. That's the only problem with it. But the actual card of what it is, that's a fucking good. When you got me telling you who I know cards, and I know the Michael Jackson story. When you got a person like me telling you, that's a fucking good fucking card. That card is that's a good one right there. That's a good fucking card. That's one of the big ones and shit, right? And when I got that, I was able to get it in a PSA 2 slabbed up for $25. Come on, that is so fucking cheap. It's like, come on, that's like they're almost giving it away and shit, right? There's one of those right now in a PSA 5, just so you know. That's at auction that they're starting at $39. I don't know what it'll sell at eventually and shit. I mean, it definitely won't go to $100 and shit. I bet it goes really fair price and shit, right? But just to mention, there is one of those in the PSA 5 at an auction right now that I think the starting price is $39 that they're asking for it and shit, right? But yeah, that's a big card, right? And that's the thing. I'm not just saying this card's pretty. Oh, buy this card, it's pretty. I'm explaining to you the story of what makes this card so fucking valuable. And I'm just freely giving it out to the community. And I can't get even some fucking loser like Dustin to even fucking talk about it when he says that's what he's interested in.
Great cards in the first place. I just like certain topics in the hobby, stuff that doesn't make sense to me. I like throwing it out there into the universe, and of course everyone chimes in, and that's how the world turns.
No, your world isn't turning. You're fucking living on a flat earth, man. You're dumb as fuck. Now, in the flat earth shit and the space and stuff, I actually think that is up for debate and shit, right? There's just one simple little thing. Like when I was young, I used to go to Catalina Island with my friend, and my friend's dad he was an old Navy guy, right? He'd spend years in the Navy, and once in a while you'd see him still dress up, and he'd go over and have to do some Navy stuff. So he still was associated with the Navy, right? And so even him, that guy, my friend's dad, he said the reason when they sail off into the sunset type of thing, and he says you see them like all of a sudden they'll be sailing away and then they'll vanish, right? And he said that was because the curvature of the earth and shit. That's why that happens. But recently now these flat earthers, and even Bill Nye the Science Guy gave that same example. He said the reason the boat goes like that and you can't see it anymore is because it's going over the curvature of the earth and you can't see it. Even Bill Nye the Science Guy used that same example. But the flat earthers, they've tested that now, and they've got these new high power zoom lenses, and they let the boat sail all the way out where you can't see it. Then they hit the zoom button and it zooms right back into focus. You can see it totally, which means that boat is not, the vision of you not being able to see it has nothing to do with any kind of curvature. It has to do with something else. Because once you zoom in on it, you could see it. But if it had went over the curvature of the earth, and if that was the reason why you couldn't see it, then if you zoomed in, that wouldn't help anything. It's like that line of sight thing. Once around the curve, you can't see around the corner and shit, right? So that was a lie. And that's a lie that's been telling for all the time. So that's just one of those simple things that's a lie. And the people that are scientific, and like the Navy guy that I know, the people that would be real well trusted, were telling me that this is why that's happening, but that has been debunked now. That's not proven that is not fucking true. Which means you have to, at that point, question, well, is the earth round or is it flat? It's a fair fucking question, just because of that one fucking situation right there. So that's when I'm calling him a dumb flat earther and shit. That doesn't mean I'm calling the flat earth theory dumb. Also, right, and shit, right? But I'm just using that as an example and shit, right? But it's because he was saying the earth goes round. No, you're dumb. You're fake, fucking Dustin. You can't talk about any fucking real stories because you're a fraud. Because you're a hooker and you only tell certain. You're like that pretty woman. I say who, I say when. I say who, I say when. That's you, Dustin. You're that dumb fucking pretty woman hooker bitch who thinks that she's making the rules and shit because even though she's a hooker, I say who, I say when. That's you, Dustin. You're a fucking fraud, dude. Everything is about you as a fraud until you fucking stand up and deal with any form of the reality of what the fuck I'm doing. Acknowledge my existence in this community. Acknowledge the fucking credible fucking information, the quality of the information of what I'm giving, how it fucking relates directly to the sports card community and all the fucking genres around it. Michael Jackson penetrates all that shit. Until you fucking realize that and deal with that, then fuck you, dude. This is all you're gonna get from me, you dumb hooker bitch.